right. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
How you guys doing today? God, we got a lovely crowd. Look at these beautiful faces. So many nice people out there. So great. Well, we're just going to go ahead and get into it. We got a very active chat. A lot of good people we see all the time here. Got about 160 people I'm showing, so that's really good. So we're going to go ahead and start with Amanda. So go ahead, Amanda. How you doing? Amanda, can you hear us? Oh, I think she's frozen. All right, we won't go to Amanda first. We'll go to Aaron. How you doing, Aaron?
I'm doing all right. I'm glad to be here, Tim. This is introductory stuff. So I'm Aaron from GameEnthuse.com. I've been making analog gaming content for maybe like the last year or so. So I'm relatively new to it. I made video game content for much longer and podcasting for about 10 years. So I'm good at talking, I think. I don't know. You'll be the judge by the end.
We'll find that out tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, Aaron.
Thank you for having me.
And then we have John. Hello, John.
Hi, my name is John Gonzalez. I've been listening to Aaron for about 10 years now, and he is really good at talking. What I do is actually I write board game reviews for my blog and for a podcast called The 5x. And if you haven't heard of The 5x, The 5x is a great podcast that does 5-minute reviews every 2 weeks. Now we're switching to a monthly schedule, but we do 5 board game reviews in 5 minutes each. So that's a really great podcast. Check that out. I've also been streaming lately on Twitch, board games and some mini painting, along with my co-host Amanda. We do a show on Tuesdays called Board Indies LA, and that's been a lot of fun. Ruel Gaviola was on it previously, and we're continuing. We keep on doing some great live streams every week, so come by and check that out. And I also do play cribbage on Saturdays with my wife Lorena. We play cribbage on Twitch, and that's also been a really fun stream.
Oh, fantastic, John. Well, good having you here. And I'll definitely have to get you in the game of cribbage because I love me some cribbage. So that's good.
For sure.
And then joining us for the first time also, we have Tim Chuan. Is that how you say it?
Yes, it is. Exactly.
Oh, well, welcome, Tim. How are you?
Hi, nice to meet you all. My name is Tim from, my own channel is called Tim Choi. I'm a photographer and videographer on the side. So I try to take board games and kind of elevate that cinematic experience for reviews and tutorials, and at the same time I also try to teach all those techniques back as well. So if you're ever interested in kind of elevating your content creation experience and marketing yourself, check out my YouTube channel.
Well, great, Tim. Thank you so much for being here and joining us. I really appreciate having you here. And so all of us here, I know, definitely could benefit from Tim, and also people watching as well, because he's got some really good stuff there about how to make better content on your channel. And then holding us down in the middle, we have Julie. Hello, Julie.
Hello. How are you?
Good, thank you. How you doing?
Good, thanks. So my name is Julie. I stream on Twitch and Facebook as Kawaii Plays. A bit of a variety streamer there. I do some video games, board games, and recently we started a virtual version of Tabletop and Tea Time. So we send out some hot teas to enjoy together while we play games on a virtual platform. So that's what I have been doing and I've been up to. So check out Kawaii Plays and Tabletop and Tea Time on Facebook for the live streams. Nice to be here and to meet everyone.
Yes, it's so great having you back, Julie. It's been a while.
I know. Thank you.
Here at the beginning and for a couple, and it's been a long time, so it's so nice to have you back.
Yes.
And then we got the dynamic duo over here. We have Tylor and Ilya. Hello, guys.
Hello. Hello, everybody. So our names are Tyler and Ilya, and we run the channel called Kavre. You can basically find us on anything. It's either Kavre or Kavre Studios, but we're fairly new to the board game scene. We started creating content last year. And our goal is just to inspire and promote other people to play games and have a lot of fun doing it as well.
Yeah,
Well,
we
very
make
good.
videos and write blogs every week.
Nice. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. It's always good having you as always. And then we have our legal analyst down here. And we have another kitten with us as well, just like Julie. So How you doing, Beneeta?
I'm good. Wednesdays are my crazy days. It's funny that you keep saying the legal because right before this, every Wednesdays I do a happy hour in Phoenix Wright stream. As an attorney, I find Phoenix Wright hilarious. And so I drink White Claw and play a game. I'm also a Twitch streamer and a variety streamer. I do a mix of indie video games, board games, and I'm starting a new segment called Last Call, where I'm going to do, it's going to be mukbang and games where we play games and eat food. And actually, Amanda Panda is one of my first guests on there, which is very cool.
Oh, wow. That sounds fantastic. Well, anything having to do with food, please always invite me, okay? Because I love me some food, so I'll be there. Well, fantastic. Oh, she's back. Let me go there now because I want to save that for last. So hello, Amanda. How are you today?
I'm good. Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone in chat. James and Paul. Hello. How are you doing? Oh, okay. So I'm Amanda Panda, which you're interested to believe. I love board games and arts and crafts, and so I started Twitch streaming, playing board games with my friends, especially during pandemic. It's the only way I can get board games in, and I'm very happy to play games with my friends, but also to play games with people I don't know, just to lift up other content creators that may be on YouTube and not on Twitch yet and stuff like that. So if you want to play games with me, hit me up.
Fantastic. Well, Amanda, it's always lovely to have you here, and thank you so much for joining us. And then last but certainly not least, we have a very special guest, the first time joining us here on the More Than Meeples and Merrier, but all the way from literally the other side of the world, which is so cool, from the country of India. Yes, we have Ronak. Hello, Ronak.
Hey Tim, nice to join you guys. I am Ronak, and I've started a board game cafe in Mumbai, India. So anytime you're here, please feel free. You have to come to my board game cafe. I would love to, play with you guys. It's been 3 years now. It's been a very nice ride for me. It's so much great to see people's minds blown all the time. And since the hobby is new to India, it's so much great to look at the aha moment of people's faces. In the pandemic, I also started a YouTube channel to explain people how to play games and do a review of these games. It's called Chai and Games. Yes.
Well, fantastic, Ronak. Thank you so much for joining us. It's really great having you here. And last but not least, I'll stick my big fat head up there. My name is Tim from Meepleville Board Game Cafe. I own Meepleville Board Game Cafe in Las Vegas. I do have a small YouTube channel where I do some little videos, interviews, and stuff like that. I do Twitch on Wednesdays, like right here, right now. And Monday nights, I do just a news and talk kind of thing. And also run Dice Tower West Convention in March of 2022. It'll be fantastic. So I'll be talking about that a lot. And I will be your moderator here this evening. So we've got a great variety of content creators, literally from all over the world. It's really fantastic to have these different people. And just want to find out what people have been playing lately to see what kind of games we've been getting to the table. So let me see. How about Ilya and Tylor? Let's start with you guys.
Sure, let's go for it. So it was actually our 1 year engagement anniversary yesterday.
Yay. Congratulations!
So we actually had a chance to play a few games yesterday. During the week, we're usually pretty busy with a lot of volunteer commitments and work and everything, so we don't get a ton of time in. But yesterday we had the whole evening to play games. Yep. So that was really nice. So I know recently we played a lot of Chai and Nunami. And Nunami we actually recently reviewed, and it's a first Inuit design board game, and it's super neat. I highly encourage everybody to check it out. But yesterday we actually got to try Canvas for the first time. Yes. You want to tell them about Canvas?
Oh no, other way. It's actually a beautiful game, and you can hang it on your wall. But it's a lot of fun. You basically make paintings. I'm sure lots of you know what the game is, but yeah.
You combine. There's transparent cards. So you combine to create images, and then there's also titles with them. So it's a really, really unique concept, and I think it's really bold for a game to not have its title or designers or anything on the front box. So that's been really, really interesting, and it was super fun to play. We can't wait to get it back to the table.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
So that's the one where you're layering different cards, right?
Sorry?
That's the one where you're layering different transparent cards,
Yeah.
right? Oh, that's so nice.
It's super neat
so
too,
beautiful.
and it's really funny too, because some of the cards have such different illustrations on them. So yesterday, one of the cat cards I made, there was a cat on it, and then a spider ended up landing exactly where the cat is.
Oh,
So you create those little moments, and it's actually very the theme really reflects in that game. There's a lot of really artful moments there.
Yeah, you end up
How they're planning to go.
Is it going to end up on the wall, or will it stay on the shelf?
It will definitely go on the wall.
Yeah, you gotta find the right spot for it.
There's enough games in the Calyx. You gotta start putting them in all the obscure places now.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
very true.
I wonder if it's going to start a trend of games being hey, we know people are running out of room on their Calyx, so maybe we can like hang it on the wall this time, and like next time it's a vase. Like I don't know, like that was a bad idea, but still.
That'd be
waiting.
interesting.
I'm waiting for
Coffee
that
table, board game,
chandelier
coffee table.
game. The chandelier game.
What if they started putting like those hangers that doesn't damage your walls into the game so that you can like literally like glue the the board game box to your wall and then just Velcro it down to play?
It would save space.
True.
Yeah, I
That's
could
true.
use some.
I know, right?
Oh yeah.
We all could, yeah.
Yeah, I'm imagining my guests coming over, and I'm just introducing them to board games, and they're like, okay, where's the board game? And I'm just picking up one of the.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we pass it on over to Tim?
Oh, he's
okay.
last.
A game I've been playing recently a lot is
Oh, the other Tim,
Dwellings of
sorry.
Eldervale. I'm pretty sure you guys. Oh wait, wrong Tim or me?
No, right,
you-
Tim. Correct, Tim.
You're good.
My problem. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, that's okay. But I've been playing Dwellings of Eldervale. That one's been hitting the table a lot with me and my fiance. It's a worker placement game at its core, and it's massive. It's like giant miniatures. They even have like sound bases on them, and it's been a lot of fun because I think every time we approach the game, you can choose like different factions, and they have very, very tiny changes between each faction, but it's really cool. It's really fun. It feels very different every time you play. So it's super thematic too, which I really love, like the whole elemental theme between like water, earth, fire, and so on. So it's been really, really cool.
So let me ask you something, Tim. Would you consider that a hybrid game?
I think so, because I wouldn't really categorize it as like one thing. Like I feel like it's an engine builder, but also a worker placement, and yeah, it's a ton of different things in once, for sure.
Yeah, I just got mine. I haven't even opened it yet. It's still up there.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the game that has been hitting the table for us a lot recently.
Oh, very good. All right. Anything else?
No, that's the main one. We've mostly been playing that. And yeah, just been sticking to that one. It's mostly because my fiance and we both are extremely competitive, so we kind of just stick to one game for quite some time until. My streak right now is pretty good. I'm at a 0-win streak while she's at like 8. So there's that.
Oh,
there you go.
damn.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I was like, God, I want to play again.
So do you guys play until you have an even win, like even win loss?
We play until my fiance loses.
Oh.
I mean, if it's 8-0, like, will she ever lose at this point?
I
I don't know. I don't think so, but like,
She might throw a game just to play something else.
Like, that's a good
Right?
point, Aaron. After like 20 times,
That's
she's
right,
like,
yeah.
okay, Tim, I'm just gonna lose.
Yeah,
What-
you won.
It's like giving me a purpose by that point. So who knows? But why don't we pass it off to Ronak? Next one.
Oh, I have been introduced recently to a lot of Lacerda games, Vitel Lacerda games, which are those very time-taking, heavy strategy games. And I have been blown out of my head, the different mechanisms that they introduce. So I've played 4 yet. I have 2 more left. So that is Lisboa, Gallerist, Escape Plan, and On Mars. Yes, On Mars is the one which you played last. Yes, it was interesting. Let me tell you, the different types of games, and I'm particularly interested about learning how to teach the game to other people. So I want to play them again and again and again, so that I find the best way to teach people the games, and make it easier for people to get into these kind of heavy games. So that's what has been happening. And in between breaks, I've been playing some button shy games. The ones, the small ones.
Yeah.
Which I'm a big fan of those small games. Yeah, even Mint works, Mint Delivery, Mint works. Those small ones, which just you can immediately, like on a cup of hot coffee or a tea, you can just finish them off. So that's what I've been doing. It's been crazy. Yes, I'm just waiting for my next rule book. I have like a bunch of rule books here just to read them.
Yes, because Vital Lacerda, for me, he's on my list. Of a designer or games. I haven't played one of his games. I got my Kanban EV. I got, so that may be the first. But let me ask you something, Ronak. After On Mars, I've heard that's pretty heavy. Did you feel you knew it by the time you were done, or do you have to still play it 2, 3, 4 more times before you really get it?
I think I figured out the game. Let's put it that way. right?
Oh,
I
that's good.
figured out, okay, next time whenever I want to play the game, what are the basic things I need to be done? And what are the goals that you need to achieve? First of all, whenever you learn the rules, it's like too much to take in, right, in one go.
Yeah.
And I've had people tell me after the teach, let's just start, let's just play one round and we'll figure it out how
Yeah.
it goes, right? I think that's where we were at that point. And after that, it's just like, okay, so I like to give people some basic advice or strategy tips when I'm explaining a heavy strategy game, that okay, if you do 2-3 things at the beginning or the first half of the game, that's gonna work out for you. Don't try to do random stuff in the beginning, just try to do these 2-3 things and you're good to go.
Oh, fantastic.
Good
Fantastic.
tip. Good tip. Yeah. It took, just to say something real quick, it took me 5 games before we played all the rules correctly of On Mars. So, and John can attest
Wow.
because he was playing with us. But yeah,
Yeah.
I had to teach it like on the second or third game just to wrap my head around everything that's in there and get all the rules correctly. So,
Are you playing online, Amanda?
no, that was in the before times. We were on our
yeah,
5th
before
game,
times.
and then pandemic hit. So our 6th game got canceled, and then we haven't played it yet. But
PC.
You're gonna have to
Yeah.
learn the rules again.
I know, right?
For sure at this point, yeah.
All right, so next is Aaron. What have you been doing?
All right. So this made it back to the table. A pretty basic card game, Quiddler, and we hadn't played it in a while, despite putting a lot of time into it a couple of years ago. And it's funny how a lot of people, I guess, don't play it correctly, because every time I play it with people who have or haven't, well, people who have, there's always this expectation that you can make words over time. And it's like, no, the game is you get your cards, you make one or more words, and you discard a card. And my wife was just, she doesn't really like that rule. So she was like, I don't think we're going to be playing it again. So I realized there's also a solo mode in it. So I was like, well, I might be sticking with this. So I can ask the kids. The kids seem to be a little more, I guess they remembered more, but it's fine. That's partially my fault. I introduced too many new games. So
I know. Isn't it funny how a lot of times you play games for a lot and then you realize you've been doing something wrong the whole time, right?
Oh, that happens frequently.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very frequently. So Quiddler was when we played. I've been playing a prototype of Three Sisters from Matt Riddle and Ben, I'm forgetting his last name, from Motor City Games. So I've never, anybody ever played Fleet, the Fleet dice game? I have not played that. But I know that this is sort of a spiritual successor to the Fleet dice game, where it's very crunchy rolling right, where you're a lot of bonus points and you're triggering this, trigger that. It's really, really good. I'm really liking it. I'm learning it slowly. I haven't shared one of my early scores a couple weeks ago online. It was not a good score to share. But no one else was sharing theirs. They didn't feel like, that's a really bad score. But I'm getting better. So I'm looking forward to making some content for that. And then the last thing is, I guess this sort of counts. I got introduced to The Captain is Dead, the Steam version last night. I never played the actual analog version of it. So, and I've heard it described as somewhat of like a pandemic game where pretty much everything is on fire or everything's going wrong. And that's pretty accurate. Everything was literally on fire in the ship and we lost twice, but I had fun doing it.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that game. People seem to like that one a lot.
Although I have no idea how it translates to the analog one, just because I've only played the digital. I don't have any cards. You just have, everything is a UI. So, and there are really no cards in it. But I liked it. It was pretty. Anybody else ever played before? Captain is Dead.
I was working on the tutorial a couple days ago, but I didn't get to finish it. But yeah, I have it on Steam, so we should play it together.
We should play it together. Oh, we found out you can't. It's only single player. So we had to do the remote thing where you take over someone else's mouse. It worked well enough.
All right.
So if you trust me, John, do you trust me?
Absolutely trust you. Yeah.
Everybody's watching. So, that's what I played. So, well, John, why don't you go? Why don't you talk about what you played?
Thanks, Aaron. I've been playing Super Skill Pinball from WizKids, and that's been really the game I've been going to when I have like 20, 30 minutes to play a game. If you're familiar with the game, it's like basically pinball rolling right, and it's just a really fun translation of pinball into a rolling right, and it works really well. There's like 4 pins, which apparently what I recently learned pinball people call pinball machines pins. There's 4 of them in the box. I think that was my cat. Sorry about that. And she's right here.
Maybe your comment.
This is Comet. She's right here. She's
Can we
she
have
wants
a cat
attention.
reveal?
Let's see. She's moving away. Comment, you want to come over here? He's like, Papa's talking. I gotta show up. So yeah, it's like 4 great pinball tables, and they did a really great job with this game, and it's one of my favorite roll and rides from 2020. And yeah, that's been pretty much. I've been doing that, playing a lot of that because I'm writing a review for it, and I'm also playing cribbage with my wife Lorena. We play cribbage all the time. Last year we were trying to do a 365-day, 365 cribbage games challenge. We got to 200 games, so I consider that was all right. That was pretty good. So this year we're going to try to beat 200 games, and we're going to try to do 365 games. So that's been a lot of fun. And just like I think Tim was saying, Lorena is on a winning streak. She won the last 3 games, and it's I got to get back
All right.
there. And
Well, you tell her to play me, John. I'll put an end to that right now.
Oh,
I'll put an end to that right now. I love that.
Vicariously.
I'm calling her out.
uh-oh. I don't know if she's watching, but I'll let her know. Yeah, thanks. Got to call in the troops.
There you go.
Nice. Yeah, let's pass it over to Beneeta. Comments like right there where Beneeta is.
I'll take it. Also, wait, Julie, I realized we have matching headsets.
We do. Yeah.
So mine don't light up. I'm jealous. I like that. So I have been playing some old favorites lately. I got Seven Wonders Duel back out, and I realized I haven't played that since 2018. And if you had asked me before I checked my BG Stats app, what's the last time you played it? I would have said, oh, a few months ago. No, 2 months, like 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I played it like 20 times in 1 year, so maybe like that's why I assumed I had played it so recently. But I took that out, and that's one of my like favorite games of all time. And my dad and I play that a lot, and we are very close. And he beat me by 1 point. It was 69-68, so it was a very memorable game. I also played some Clank, the deck building game, because I haven't played that in a while as well. But that's always a great time as well. So just playing some old favorites. My family's not in a very I want to learn new games mood right now. So I'm like, okay, we can play some old standbys, and both of those games we all love.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah. How about you, Amanda? What have you been playing lately?
So I was just asked to be on the Incorrigible podcast Twitch channel, and we played Tyrants of the Underdark on TTS, and that's a building area control game, and it was great. I mean, it took us like 3 hours, but it's also on Tabletop Simulator. But oh my gosh, I was like, oh, this is fun, because to get to the cards have 2 different point values. So if you bank them, aka get them out of your deck, then they're a higher point value. So you want to hold on to the high, scoring cards until the end, and then bank them all. But then only certain cards have the banking ability, and then there's a board with area and control where you're trying to assassinate, the other players or this neutral player, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and there was a lot of trash talking and why are you in my area? But yeah, I loved it. And then I played Chai with Paula Deming, and that was great fun, even though it was at 9 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, I have Chai right there. Yeah, Chai. And Burger Brothers with Joe Sondow, and we actually won that game with the help of the designer, of course. Because
Nice.
I have not won that game ever except with the help of the designer. But yeah, that was with Joe Sondow. So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
So let me ask you real quick. So Ronak, you can settle this dispute. Is it true, since actually this is the name of your game cafe, that chai in, I guess, Hindi, it actually means tea, right? It's just tea?
Yes, it
Yeah.
does.
So when people say,
Chai is tea, yes.
so
Chai
when you
is
go to
tea.
Starbucks and you say, I want a chai tea, that
You're
doesn't
saying
make
tea.
sense, does it?
Yeah, you're saying I want tea.
Yeah.
And tea, when it was transported over land, it was called chai. And then if it was transported over water, seas, it was anglicized to T. So that's why there's two different names. For the Chinese name, Ca, which is the actual pronunciation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
A little information for you all.
There we go. We all just got
Learn new things.
smarter. Just got
Yeah,
smarter.
the TT thing like is always like a pet peeve of mine when I hear someone order, "Can I have a chai tea?" In my head, I just like cringe a little bit. I'm just like, just call it chai.
Yeah. But no, chai is different. It's like a certain flavor of
Yeah.
spiced tea, so that's different too. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, the things people have done with chai in India, you just imagine, you can't even imagine. Like there are 25 different types of tea, and everyone has their own way of making it.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Julie, what about you?
So I actually discovered pretty recently a local game store of mine that does rentals right now during this time, which is pretty cool. So I've gotten to try, most recently, I borrowed Renature, which is a newer game. It's got dominoes in it. The dominoes have animals on them, and you use them to connect like animals, just like you would with dominoes and the like numbers, except you use them to kind of block in these areas. And then when you block in those areas, you are scoring the plants that you've been able to place in there as you lay down the dominoes. And so you can try to block someone else out of getting those points because it's whoever has the most within that blocked in area that gets the points for the whole thing, right? So you can block each other out of those spots, and at 2 players, it's actually quite cutthroat. It's a pretty game with animals and plants, and it seems very nice, but it can actually be quite the killer of the game. But that was really fun. And I also tried Skulk Hollow recently. Which is this one about, it's a 2-player only game. One person is playing these little fox factions, the Fox and Heroes, and then the other is playing these giant guardians. And the little fox heroes actually have actions to like jump on these guardians. So they're like scaling them and attacking them in different parts of their body. And then if they do enough damage to that part, that specific action that they can do, like throw, for example, is on the arm. So if they do enough damage to the arm, they can't be thrown anymore and things like that. So just the idea of these tiny little foxes jumping all over these huge guardians trying to bring them down is just it was really fun. It was very clever, a cute little game. So those have been the 2 that I got to try most recently that I really liked.
Oh, very good. Very good. All right, I guess that leaves it up to me. I guess I'm last here. Yes. So I'm going to be doing this new show with Tom or Z on the Dice Tower, whichever. I'm going to pick an old game and then play it with them, whichever one knows it. So the first one I picked, and he's like, "Oh well, between me and Z, we're going to know pretty much any game you pick." Okay, great. So the first game I picked and that I played and learned was Peloponnese. And neither him or Z have played the game.
Challenge accepted.
Yes, he's like, you picked the 1%er, the one game, and then so I played that, which I liked. It's an older game. I think it was from '97 or something. So it's nice. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I like to play it again. And then I played a game that just came out about 2 or 3 years ago, which I never heard of, and I'm surprised I didn't because it was fantastic. And that's Crown of Amara. I don't know if anybody's played that.
I want to.
I still want to too.
Yeah, it's so good. It's just a really, really good game. So I'll be playing it again tomorrow night and maybe Saturday as well. But yeah, those are what I've been playing lately. So I really enjoyed those 2 games.
What are the mechanics in those games? You mind me asking?
Yeah, so the Peloponnese had a really good auction system where it's got like a row of 3 at the bottom and then a row of 2. And in the row of 3 at the bottom, say you bid 4. There's a minimum bid number on it. So say you bid 4 tokens. Somebody can knock you off, but they have to be higher, right, than you. However, if they knock you off and the other tiles are, say, 5 and 6, then you are out that round because you don't have enough bid to reach the minimum bids for the other ones. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, but what you have to do, the 3 tiles that are down all have minimum bids, right? Say they're like 4, 5, or 6. And if you only bid 4 and somebody knocks you off of 4, then you can't go to 5 and you can't go to 6. Like you can't up your bid. So you're like out for that round. So if you don't want that to happen, you got to kind of bid higher than you may want to, because if somebody knocks you off, then you got to go somewhere else. And then the top row has a 3+ minimum bid, but if you bid there, you're guaranteed to get them. And then it's like a loosely based Civilization type game. But I really enjoyed it. And then Crown of Amara is it's a worker placement, but it's got 2 boards where one side is sort of strictly resources. You have a worker to move around there with resources, and the other side is where like this village where you go to different areas and they give you different goals, and you got little cards you can buy. But the cool thing about it is you have 9. The game is 2 rounds, and each round you have 9 cards, and you pick 3, or not. You pick 3. You just take 3 off the top of your deck. And you place them in a 1, 2, or 3 slot. And whichever slot you place them in is exactly how many moves one of your workers is going to move around a rondel. It's just really cool. It's kind of hard to explain and visualize, but it's just fun. I really, really enjoyed the game. So I'm looking forward to playing that again. If any of you like worker placement and just really good games, I would highly recommend Crown of Amara. So it's fantastic.
I think it's my list.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, so it's really, really good. So one of the main topics, folks, out there that I wanted people to talk about this week, especially because Tim is on here, and I've been watching Tim's channel for a while now because he does a lot of stuff with content creation, shows you about cameras and video stuff and how to set up and doing all that kind of stuff. And I know a lot of us do that stuff, so I thought it'd be a good topic. And it's not just about the mechanical stuff I was looking for either. It's about just some of the, other kind of things that we think are necessary for our content creation, or what things we found important. And it doesn't have to be about us. Maybe what we've seen in other content creators that we find we'd like to copy, or we think is really good that they do in the field of content creation. So I'd asked everybody to pick like 1 or 2 things that they think is really important when it comes to putting out really good content creation. So why don't we start with Beneeta? How about you?
My most important thing about content creation, and this is like learning from like mistakes I've made in the past, is you have to like it. You have to like what you make. If you spread yourself too thin, or if you're like, hey, I see a lot of people like branching out in this field, like in YouTube videos or something like that, and you're like, maybe I should do that as well, and you're just like, I hate this. It's gonna come out. It's gonna come through what you're doing, that you don't like it, or that you're not enjoying it, and also it's gonna start feeling like work. And I feel like for the most part, all of this, like, we do this on the side. It's not most of our full-time jobs. And if you start to like resent what you're doing like 24/7, like that's gonna come out. So make sure you like it. Like, that's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a big one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like an important one too. Sorry, just to like play off of yours, because I feel like if you like what you're doing, everything else follows. Like the consistency and like everything else just follows suit. So that's super important.
Yes. Yeah, and also, Beneeta, that's a good point, because you do have to like it, because a lot of times, like I was talking with Amanda a little bit before we came on here, when I talked to Rodney, when I interviewed Rodney from Watch It Played, he's like fortunate at what he does, but he's like, sometimes spending 13 hours in front of a camera isn't like the best day, right? Even though he loves what he's doing, but that's some of the kind of stuff you have to put up with, and that's what people don't see. You know what I mean? They don't see all the hard work that people put into it. But yes, you have to like it a lot. That's a great point.
Yeah, like definitely, like content creation is hard work, and there's like a lot of behind the stuff scenes you don't see. And I'm not saying that, like, I'm not saying everything should be like easy breezy or should be like fun all the time. I'm mostly saying, like, if you don't like it, if you don't like putting in the hours, if you don't like making the content, that will eventually like come through, and it's just going to become like another chore in your life. So like, sometimes like I will stay up until 2 a.m. like working on a scene for Twitch, but I love that. And like, I don't mind putting in the hours, but but it took me a while to figure out like what I enjoy doing, what I don't enjoy doing. Like, there's such a huge world out there that you can do. So like figuring out your niche, like honing in on what you enjoy doing and you're good at doing, that takes time. And I feel like that really comes through trial and error. Sometimes you're going to have to try things that you don't like, and then you'll be like, oh, okay, I don't like it. Move on to the next thing.
Yes. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's sort of you have nothing to lose, right?
Yeah.
I mean, YouTube is free. Yeah. If it doesn't really cost you anything as far financially to put up a video. So just experiment, do stuff.
Exactly. How about you, Julie? What would be your
I know that being consistent is super important in terms of content creation. Just people look forward to you watching you once they start finding the content that they like, and then they're like, oh, I look forward to this person and seeing more of their stuff. And so when they know when that new thing is coming from you, whether it be a video or whatever it might be, that content that they look forward to, that's pretty important that it's there for them to be able to expect, right? Like there is a podcast that I listen to where they kind of do it a little more sporadically, and it's kind of difficult because you're like, oh, when is that next one coming? Is it here? And it's not, and it's really sad because you start to look forward to those things. And so consistency, I think, is another one that's super important to keep up with, just to help out your viewers, and then it also helps with your own scheduling of your life. Like then you know that on this day this is what's to be expected, and it helps you get into a routine too. So that's I think another really big one.
And again, Julie, that again, because I think Beneeta is so. I mean, I guess I was fortunate that I picked you first when you, no, because you brought up the word like, and I think pretty much anything anybody says is going to have to sort of link off of liking what you're doing, because just like Julie said, you're not going to be consistent if you don't like what you're doing, right? So that's going to help with consistency, is liking it. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. So how about you, Amanda? What do you think?
So like just real quick, liking what you do, a thing is create for yourself. Like don't create for a specific audience. Don't create for someone else, create and do things for yourself. If you don't want to see what you're doing, then you don't want to watch it, then other people won't want to watch it either. So do things where you want to watch it or you wish to see in the world, and then your passion will shine through. The other thing is that creativity does take brain power. So it's like work. Even though it's work that's fun, it's still work. So make sure you take breaks, make sure you give yourself time to relax, make sure you have time where you're not doing creative things, and then you won't be as burned out, or you won't be kind of having that roadblock where you don't know what to do next and stuff like that. Because as a creative person, it's easy to get into a rut where you're like, well, I don't know what to do next, or how to do something new and innovative and all that stuff. No, just like let things flow, create, and then also give yourself breaks.
Oh yeah, yeah. Such a good point. I mean, you all three so far was fantastic points. I think they're all intertwined, right? I think everything we say, all of us are good. Whatever we say is going to be all intertwined. Very good, Amanda. Yeah.
What about Tyler and Ilya? I'm so sorry, Ilya. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I guess I'll go first. I think we both have one. For me, I think building meaningful relationships is such an important aspect. Before getting into content creation, I actually remember I would be that one in the comments of pretty much every video being like, oh, yes, thank you so much, Rodney. Like, I'm so glad you taught that. And I was always blown away when I got comments back. Like, I remember running to a room and be like, Tyler, Rodney from Before You Play, or Monique from Before You Play, or Rodney from Watch It Play. Like, they responded to me. They said, oh, they like this. And I was like so enamored by that. And I think now, like, it's really what we're doing is we're building a community around something we all really enjoy. So it's really important to respond to everybody that reaches out to you. Obviously at capacity. If you're getting 10,000 comments a day, it's not a realistic thing. But setting apart like some time or really trying to engage with people and build those meaningful connections. I think that's been one of my most favorite parts of content creation as well, is just learning about why certain people like a game, or what really stands out, or what mechanic really doesn't work with people and why that is so. I think it's that would be kind of my biggest advice, is initially, especially when you're starting out, because the people that will be reaching out to you, those are your biggest fans. So like you really want to make sure you chat with them and actually build those relationships. And I know like I've made many friends through doing that as well.
Oh yeah, we have COVID has introduced us to so many different people, and we're so like silver lining, I guess, is we're just so grateful for that opportunity. Yeah. Mine. When we first started making content creation, I kind of want to just build off of the consistency and the having to like it. But we wrote on our whiteboard, and all it said was just do it. just do it. So like, there's going to be people who don't like your stuff. There's going to be people who love your stuff. Just do it. And it's to Amanda's point. Like, if you want to like do it for yourself, it all just like wraps around to this like really important piece where if you're having fun, if you're staying consistent, if you like what you're doing and you're proud of what you've put out there, you just watch the growth and it just projects yourself into some space that you might not even known that you could have reached.
Yeah, that's an excellent point because, and also real quick, Ilya, I just wanted to say about what you said, the building relationships. So in the very beginning, when I was trying to learn about YouTube content creation, I'm sure a lot of us did, you go and watch all those videos, right? Like how to get 1,000 subscribers in 2 hours and how to do all this crazy stuff. And this one guy, he was kind of harsh. He had a lot of followers, good following, and he was kind of harsh. But he's like, listen, if people are going to take the time to watch your crappy little channel, then you damn well better respond to them when they comment. I mean, he was really harsh and crass about it, but it's so true. I mean, you do, right? I mean, I got a crappy little channel. If people are going to take the time and they're going to comment, I need to give them the same effort that they put into watching me. I need to respond to them and build that relationship. Yeah, that's very important. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Who do you want to pass it to?
Oh, let's pass it to John.
Gotta remember to unmute myself here. Yeah, just touching on what Beneeta and Amanda said. Try to have fun with it because remember that you're doing content. Like we're all doing content for board games. Remember, board games are fun, and if you stress out too much about like we do, like streaming, if you stress out about viewers in the chat or viewers watching you, if you think too much about numbers, you get stressed out. But remember, it's about having fun, and like Amanda said, if you're having fun, people are going to see that, and that goes back to what Beneeta was saying because you need to, if you're going to start doing content, it should be in stuff that you have fun with. So like for me, I love tinkering with, like Beneeta said, I'm agreeing a whole lot with Beneeta. I love tinkering with OBS and stream. With my stream, I'm always tweaking it, and that's like part of the enjoyment for me. And if it wasn't enjoyable, if I was frustrated by that, if I was hitting a wall all the time, that would take a lot of the enjoyment away from me, and it would become a lot frustrating. So make sure you keep in mind the things that give you joy while you're doing this, and that's not to diminish the fact that content creation is a lot of work. Like whether you're writing a blog, whether you're writing a script for a video, or you're doing voiceover or streaming, you put a lot more work than is visible. Like we do the 5-minute reviews on the 5x. I like to joke that I thought it would take me 5 minutes to write them when I started. It takes me like 4 hours to write one of these things, like a 5-minute review, and then like another couple hours to record it the way I want to, right? And it's a lot of work for like a 5-minute product. So make sure, just keep in mind while you're doing this, while you're in the hobby, while you're putting out this content, it's because, and I'm pretty sure speak for most of us, so we love board games and we want to share that with people and we want to put them out in a good light and we want to think about what about board games hit and what don't, like Taylor and Ilya were talking about. And here's Comet. Do you agree, Comet? Yes. Sorry about that.
Yeah, John, I literally spent 5 hours like the other day, like making like a scene and like fixing my overlay. If I didn't like Twitch streaming, like that would feel awful, but like I didn't even notice it was 2 a.m. and I was still working on it.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, I got to remind myself to get up from the computer and stop like focusing on it because I enjoy all that stuff, figuring out how to make it work.
Yeah, I did that too. In the very beginning, I wanted to add like little effects. And I wanted to put stuff in the iMovie and do all this kind of stuff. And one video, I think it came out to like 4.5 minutes, took me over 10 hours. Like, to because I didn't know anything. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore.
You gotta like it. You gotta like it. If you don't like it, you don't do it.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a learning experience for sure.
Yeah, let's pass it over to Ronak.
Oh, yes. I think I agree with most of what you guys have said, but I would just like to echo Tyler and Ilya. What they've been, talking about feedback and relating to what your audience is. And so one tiny bit of thing which helped me a lot is just always keep discovering new things. Right, always keep. You never know what skill you pick up is going to be useful for you. So I used to do translations for a friend, and I just gave it a go. And now what I'm doing is a lot of publishers are approaching me that can we, if we release our game in your local language, which is Hindi, would you be able to make a how to play video out of it? So yeah, I'm kind of doing that for a lot of publishers right now, and I did not know that skill would work.
Wow.
You would help me out over here.
That's awesome.
That's really
That's
awesome.
beautiful.
That's what's
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, but Ronak, what's so cool about like people from the country of India? They all speak like 3, 4, 5 languages or something like that, right? Which is I would love to be a polyglot like you guys. So would you do it in other languages besides Hindi as well? Like maybe like whatever your state language is?
Yes. I have been like talking to someone, and they have like commissioned me to make it in like 2 other languages, which are the local languages over here, the native ones. So yes, which is one is Gujarati and one is Marathi.
That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
envy you guys so much. I mean,
Translating is so hard because you have to know the language. You have to know English very well. You have to know how to play board games, how to teach board games, and then how to visually and auditorily like teach someone that not giving you any type of feedback at all. And it's like all and editing, right? Because you're editing the videos and stuff. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
I will never complain again, Ronak.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. But something what I realized this very, very soon when I started a board game cafe is a lot of non-English speaking customers walked in. Right. And then whenever I had to explain them a game, which is a little bit of English dependent, language dependent on that, they would have a hard time picking it up. So I would instantly switch to their native language, what they are comfortable with speaking, and they would pick up the game like this. They did not care about the text. They did not care, just because some games have beautiful icons like Castles of Burgundy, Wingspan, all of those games. So then when you teach them, okay, the bird is this, and then you lay eggs, and then you do this action, and you do this action, then you play a dummy round, and they instantly pick it up. Right. So that's what inspired me to even start making videos in, the native languages.
That's awesome.
So Ronak, let me ask you real quick, because I watched a couple of your videos actually in Hindi because I wanted to see what they sounded like, the difference, right? What you were doing. And I noticed like whenever you speak, it seems like I'm just exaggerating, maybe 5 or 6, 8 words, whatever. There's like a word I understand, like an English word. Is that just common in the Hindi language? Is like there's a lot of English words?
It is. So there are 2 types of Hindi. I don't know if that's also for other languages. It's there for all the Indian languages. One is the pure language, which people speak and write and talk about, and one is the spoken Hindi, right? So what we generally speak in everyday life. There are a lot of slangs which are involved, right? And I've figured out that people understand that better. So sometimes you substitute words in order to get those right instructions.
Oh, okay.
Very interesting.
So yeah, who's okay? So yes, Aaron, what's new with you?
So many wonderful things have already been shared. I would just say, I guess something that I maybe I'm projecting. You tell me if I am. I would just say being wary of FOMO is a real thing, and you're constantly seeing people putting things on the table, and it's like I need to make content with that. It's at a certain point you're like, well, you don't have enough time, you don't have enough energy, you might not even have the game. So it's just you have to be careful about just maybe overextending yourself trying to keep up, because I mean, Tim, you know better than I don't how many board games came out in 2020. Just
they got like 3,000-4,000 every year, right?
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And we cannot play them all. We cannot cover them all. And we shouldn't really expect to. So I guess it's more about just finding the amount of content you're comfortable with and allowing, enjoying the content someone else makes for even the game that you want. It's like, hey, I'm going to enjoy a video that Beneeta's doing or a video that Tyler and Ilya are doing. I don't have to go out and get it, because I can't do it all.
Yeah.
Right.
That's something I think is important.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Can I just add one thing to that?
Oh, please.
Like not having FOMO, but also having like boundaries. I said no for the first time in like a really long time for someone like asking me to review it. And I'm just like, the game wasn't something I would really enjoy playing, and what they were asking me, like, I didn't really want to do. And I very politely said no, but that was so hard. It was so hard to say no. So figuring out your boundaries, like that takes work, but they're so important.
That is difficult to do. So congrats to you, because normally it's like, I'll find something out of this, but it's like, no, I'm not going to enjoy this at all. Let me just leave it for somebody. That's important.
I put off writing that email for like a day because like I really didn't want to say it, but I'm like, but now I'm like, I got to do it.
I've been there. That's real. Yeah.
But Aaron, I just want to ask you real quick. When you say FOMO, are you referring? Because this is a kind of a thought I had too. Are you referring to fear of missing out on being the first or one of the first to review a game?
That is definitely a part of it.
Okay.
That is definitely a part of it.
Because everybody wants to be like the jump on the hot new game, right? To be one of the first ones to have it seen and all that kind of stuff. So I was...
Yeah, well, which definitely can tie into the YouTube race or the Twitch race of trying to, get the most views early and just take off like that. So yeah, that's definitely a part of it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so we got Tim left. And actually, Tim, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead of you, and I'm going to kind of leave you to close this out because, as I said, Tim this is what he does, right? This is what he does in his channel. So it'd be kind of good to have somebody like him talk about, pretty much all the kind of stuff we talked about. So I'm going to go first and then hand it off to you. So yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with everything everybody's saying. And my most important thing is sort of in the lines of what Amanda said, and I've written down, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've written down everything people wrote. So I'll email these to you afterwards because I think they're all really good. But when she said for yourself, and my thing I was going to say was truth, right? You have to just be true. You have to speak truth or whatever it is that you're portraying. Because I think Beneeta said it too, or Julie, that people will see it, right? If you're just trying to crank out content to just crank it out, try to do something just to do it or whatever, I think your audience and people will know. So it has to be truth. And again, the hard part I've discovered about truth is sometimes you may not be consistent, right? You may not necessarily have fun doing it. You may not, because it's truth. If you want to speak the truth or do the truth, sometimes you just have to do it, and it may not always be, perfect or great, but at least it's the truth and it's your truth, so I think that's real important, at least to me. So last but not least, Tim, if you would, go ahead and talk about maybe some of the other kind of things that people have talked about and a lot of the things that you think are important for good content creation.
Okay, so what Aaron mentioned, I think is super important too. The whole trying to jump on the train of what everyone is doing at that moment. I think one other important thing just to add on to that is you kind of lose that quality when you're scrambling to get a game done in time with everyone else too as well. And I've seen that happen a lot. So I think it's not worth it to really jump on whatever is super excited if you don't have the time and like the energy to, as Aaron was mentioning, to jump on whatever is hot or exciting. And then to go off of Ronak's point, he said, this is always trying to learn something new. I think it's super, super important too, because for me, my videos were really bad. I look back at my YouTube channel and like you see a history of what bad videos start off, where it started off with just my phone filming on a regular iPhone 6 Plus with terrible editing skills. But what I always try to do and what I always try to teach everybody is that you can add one new technique to every single video that you make from there on out, and that becomes a huge amount of progress within a week. Within a week, I learned so many new things by just adding in one new technique, and it becomes less cumbersome. It becomes less intimidating, because I think that's the biggest factor that keeps everyone away from content creation. Is that it's intimidating, and it is, because video editing software is not user friendly, especially with Adobe Premiere. I'm sure many of you know, it's horrible. It's a horrible experience, especially starting new, and no one has a very clear understanding of it until it takes a lot of time. So what I always try to do in the beginning, what I always try to tell everyone now, is to just think about adding one new thing. It doesn't have to be anything big. It doesn't have to be anything time consuming. Just add one new thing that you learn when you're making a video. Either you can create it faster by using a a different piece of gear, like a monitor, so you can see yourself without having you to get up from your desk and to hit the camera, or like while you're editing, maybe you learn one new transition, one new technique for that. And then I guess from my own perspective, to kind of just twist everything or to tie in everything what everyone's been saying, after you've while you're making content creation, I think it's always important to think about the duality of what you're putting out. And what I mean by that is think about the quality and what, like the biggest question I would say is, what value are you bringing not only to your audience but also to publishers? Because I was able to book someone at 300 subscribers, and then people are always confused by that because you think you need a huge audience base. I have a very, very small audience, but I have a ton of publishers that I booked within the next couple months or so because I'm able to bring something different to the table. And that's not to brag or to talk about myself, but it's to ask you, what can you bring differently to the table that publishers are going to want to see? And I think that's a big facet of content creation that you should ask yourself, because everyone brings something different to the table, whether it's cultural or like whether it's something that you want to think about thematically, like bringing food and board games together. It's just everyone brings something different, and I think everyone can provide value to that. So if you can provide value in a unique perspective that a publisher is going to want, then they're going to ask you to do that for their board game. And it doesn't hurt to do the same thing, right? If we're already putting out reviews and blog posts about board games, it doesn't hurt to kind of up that quality of like pictures, because if a publisher comes up to you and say, hey, can you take pictures of my board game? I'll pay you for it. Like a lot of us would probably say yes, so that's why I'm thinking, like, even though we're having fun making things, it doesn't hurt to also think about what value we're providing to publishers as well.
Right, but still at the end of the day, Tim, I mean, that's a fantastic point. I think part of what we all talked about or touched on is you still want to make sure that you're doing it for yourself, right? Like Amanda said, like you don't want to just, because again, like if anybody has, and I think we could probably all maybe agree with this, if anybody has ideas of doing this full time, which would probably be fantastic, right? Playing games for a living, doing all kinds of stuff. It's like, it's probably not going to happen for the overwhelming majority of people who get into content creation will not be able to do it full time, right?
Very true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we have to have fun with it from the get go. But like, sorry, that's my dog. She's eating right now, but. Yeah, 100%. Like the fun and like the thrill of it and like the drive for us to make content always comes first. Yeah. So I agree.
I think just to say something real quick, I find it hard to be unique. Like hard to figure out like what it is that would make you stand out. With all the content creating on Twitch and YouTube and now on TikTok, it kind of like overwhelms me to find something unique. So if you're just starting out, I'd say just like they said, just do it and figure out your style, experiment, figure out your style, and then see if what you love to do is different enough to go to a publisher. But I think that should be the last thing in content creating, just because otherwise you're just going to be like, pushing to be something new and unique, but maybe that's not you. And like Tim saying, you have to be truthful in who you are and what you're putting out, because if you're just doing it just to be unique or just to be like surprising, then it's not going to last you long. You'll burn out, or you'll get roadblocks before it's too long.
As like a counterpoint. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Tim.
No, you, Beneeta, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as a counterpoint, I think like you as a person, as a personality, like what makes you unique. So I don't think you need like necessarily like yeah, sure, some people will have a hook, but I don't think most people like need a hook. I think who you are as a person, how you interact with your community, how you are on stream, that what makes you unique. And I think everyone is unique, and I think everyone brings something unique at the table. So you don't have to create something being like, how will I stand out? Like your work will stand out if like you like are like proud of it. And I think that because like Amanda, your streams are always so great to watch, and they're fun and like chill vibes during your craft. Like that's you. Like your brand is you, and I think that's really important to like recognize.
Oh, thank you.
No, it is. And I don't necessarily. Oh, did somebody else have something to say?
I was going to quickly just add on. And I think most of the time when we go for people, we never say we're going to just a friendly Twitch stream. We're gonna go see Amanda, or like we're not watching Phoenix Rising. We're gonna go see Beneeta play Phoenix Rising. And same with Tim. Like we go to see Tim do these stellar videos. But at the end of the day, like it's the personality behind it that really stands out, and that's why we like that. That's why I watch a lot of people. It's just the people behind them.
Well, it's like a natural progression. Like with what everybody's been saying here is, if you like it, if you stay consistent, if you stay true to yourself, like all of these things just flow, and it works out. You find your unique niche. You find what you love. It all just becomes easy. You learn, you grow, and
it's experiment.
Yeah. It's the experience and getting to that point, and then it's all like rewarding. Basically.
But that's always the toughest part too, is like that whole experience of trying to discover what you're doing, because it's okay to try something and say, hey, I hated writing that review. I'm never going to write reviews again. That does not work for me. Why am I doing this? But then pivot and try something new, because if you still have that passion behind the whole hobby, you're bound to find something that really sticks out. And maybe it's photography, maybe it's just goofy 1 minute like videos that just showcase the silliness of games. Like there's tons of different variety of ways to really show yourself.
Yeah. And to add on to that real quick too, I'm so sorry. But the whole idea of truth that we were talking about and being true to yourself and everything, and looking back on all those old videos, I think that that's actually some of the, like, there's this worry about, was the stream perfect? Did it go flawlessly? And things like that. And that pressure, especially at the beginning of like your stream going well, means that everything went flawlessly without a hitch. But like at the beginning, especially, and even further down the road, probably lots of things go wrong, or there's little like blips and things. But that I think is part of that realism, that truth that people actually love to see. That's when your personality can shine. That's when they see you, that realness, I think is something that people like seeing as well. So
yeah, and it all, yes, and that's exactly right. It all depends. We as humans, right, we're attracted to different people in different ways. If we go to I'm sure a lot of us have been in board game groups, right, with maybe 20, 30 people, but why is it out of those 20, 30 people that you've grown a relationship with maybe only 2 or 3, right? Because it's that natural attraction. It's the same thing with this content creation. It's about the individual, right? There's probably 50 different reviews on Splendor, but there's probably going to be that one person you like to watch to explain it for you, that you have some kind of personal connection, and that's why you're watching them. So and again, also like you said, Julie, right there, you get some people, like I was watching like Rodney today, he's got a beautiful camera, beautiful sound, beautiful studio. That may be what some people want. And some people may want, like when Rado first started, he had the shaky, like handheld camera, but he still developed his audience. So it could go from one extreme to the other, but you just have to be real and honest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very good.
Especially what Beneeta said too, like you are your brand. Ultimately that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, because wait, speaking of that, Tim, that's a good way, because you actually, because you actually made yourself your brand, right? Because you left a name, for lack of a better term, and just called it you, right?
Right. My channel was originally called B-Roll and Board Games. So it was just kind of like these cinematic overviews of just board games. And I didn't really have a direction at that time until I got a comment saying, because I started making other things outside of board games, until I got one comment. And I'm usually pretty like rigid to comments, I would think. But I got one comment that said, "Oh, is this B-roll and backpacks now?" So since I got that, it kind of just made me think about like, well, I want to do things outside of board games too sometimes, and I don't want to be limited to just that. And I also want to make things outside of just B-roll and board games too. So that's why I just changed it to my name, and whoever is on for the ride is going to be there for, just like what Tyler and Ilya was saying, was going to be there for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, it's a fantastic talk. Oh, did somebody else have something to say?
Nope.
Oh, yeah, this is a fantastic talk. It was very good. I'm sure all of us learned something. I know I did, and I wrote it all down. I put it in the chat so you guys can cut and paste. I'll put those 2 last things that Tim put in there. And for people out in the audience, anybody watching, I hope you too were able to gather something from this as well. So we have a couple of pieces of news I want to get to real quick before we go into our top 3. And let's go ahead and start with Amanda. What was the news you'd like to share?
So on February 14th, Valentine's Day, we are going to have a fun streamathon. It's going to be the Galentine's edition of Tabletop Live Network. It starts at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. GMT with Loozapalooza on Twitch. Then if you just join them, they will raid into the next streamer, who will raid until the next streamer. We have 9 amazing female presenting non-binary Twitch board game streamers that will be on all day Sunday. And Beneeta and I will be joining Monique, the Game Free Geek Girl, on her stream. We're going to have giveaways, board game giveaways. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're not leaving out the guys. They're all welcome, but they're going to be guests. We just want to put a little spotlight on our friendship. The girls are not going to be all single. It's just going to be, friendship, female presenting friendships and board games. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope you join us.
That sounds fantastic. Amanda, if you don't mind, if you could, just go ahead and plug a link or something in the chat on Twitch, because I'm not even watching that. I got to work on this if you could, so people can go ahead and see that. Next, we have Aaron. You have some news you'd like to share.
I just wanted to spotlight what Board Game Geek was doing with for Black History Month, having Black content creators and Black game designers be the spotlight. The other day when I popped over there, I go there several times a day, and I saw. I was not familiar with Jennifer
Schlickburned. Yeah, Schlickburned.
Yeah, Schlickburned, I guess. She was one of the designers for Advanced Civilization. So, and I kind of felt like, wow, I should have known that, but I did not. So I appreciate what they're doing over there, just trying to highlight just Black folks who are involved in creating content or board games. Like today, you have they have Marcus Ross and Kara Ryan from Water Bear Games. So I remember, I believe I follow Marcus Ross, but it reminded me to go and probably try to purchase copies of Water Bear's games because I had kind of lost track. So I like what they're doing over there, just highlighting Black people during Black History Month. It's nice to see. Hopefully it will continue throughout the year and not just be in February, but they do good things over there. I know Candace is over there also. Candace Harris over there contributing a lot of things too. So that's good. It's good to see.
Yes, it is. And Aaron, thank you so much for pointing that out. And I just want to go ahead and add on too, because I believe Aldi is in the chat like he usually is watching, and Lincoln is also there too. But yeah, so Aldi has been very, very accommodating, and he has really been wanting to push the representation, the diversity, and underrepresented groups in gaming. And because Board Game Geek is kind of like, the granddaddy of board gaming in the world, right? With their internet and their database. So they reach the largest audience, and they are doing a fantastic job at, like you said, highlighting Black History Month, highlighting people of color, women, LGBTQ community, so all that kind of stuff. And they're doing a fantastic job. So thank you for pointing that out, Aaron. And just an additional shout out to BGG and Aldi. Thank you so much for doing that. Beneeta, you have some news to share.
Well, I mentioned it earlier when I did my intro, but I just wanted to point out that I'm doing like a little mini talk show once a month, and Amanda's going to be one of my first guests, along with Crystal Dax and Anna Maria, who's the social media marketer for Pencil First. And it's just going to be a conversation about games. We'll also be eating food, and we're going to be like playing games towards the latter half. And I just hopefully it'll be fun to watch, and people audience can ask everyone questions, and I'm really excited about it. So that is this Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my Twitch channel.
Fantastic. And Beneeta, the same thing. Go ahead and plug a link or something into the chat on Twitch. All right, so people can go ahead and see that. Well, good. So, folks, what we're going to do now is every week we have a top 3. This week, I just thought it might be something different, because I don't know if there's probably a top 3 out or top 10 or whatever out there list, because everybody loves those lists. So I'm sure there's one out there, but I haven't seen it. I just thought it'd be kind of cool, because I had to work at this too. I really had to work at this. So what I asked the people on the panel tonight is to come up with their top 3 games that are themed around animals. So top 3 games that are themed around animals. It'd be nice to see what's going on in chat. I watch later because I'm too busy right now to know what's going on. So I'd like to see what the people are saying out there. But let's go ahead and start with John. John, what are your top 3 games themed around animals?
Thanks. I started off thinking about anthropomorphic animals, but I settled on just like animals. So focusing on bears here. Uh, uh, Barren Park. Barren Park is a really fun tile laying game from Phil Walker Harding, and that's you're building a little zoo, your own personal zoo for the bears, and there's tiny little koalas, and it's kind of a race to get these achievements on the board. So that's one I came up with. I thought of instantly because it's one me and my wife play a whole lot, and it's just a really fun, great little game. Do I go through all three of my picks?
Yes.
Or?
Yep.
Second one is Caverna because it has you got donkeys, you got sheeps, you got cows, and then you're also there breeding, so you get little you get to make little babies. That sounds really weird, but there's also doggies. There's a lot of doggies in the box. I have like the big old box, and it has like a lot of meeples, and that's a really fun one because it's kind of like the flip side of Agricola, which it's a little less punishing, I guess. And Caverna is just one of my all-time like favorite things. So when you mentioned that requirement of 3 games with animals, I was like, yeah, Caverna just comes to the top of my list. And then on the not so cuddly front, I did think about Dominant Species. If anyone's played this game, it's an area majority game from about 2010. Chad Jensen designed it, and it's one of my favorite games that I don't play anymore because it gets kind of mean. And there's these whole actions like the glaciation action, which you could pretty much destroy a different species. Well, the whole thing about this game is that you take on the role as one of a class of animals. Comet's on my lap right now, by the way. She's distracting me with her cuteness. So you could play as snakes, invertebrates, birds, and mammals, and they all have their own little powers. And the game is it's a really neat take. It looks really dry on the board. If you were to walk by, it looks like it's just a bunch of cubes, a bunch of wooden cylinders, and a bunch of wooden cones. But it's a really fun game with tons of player interaction, and that's it's one of my favorite games, but I don't play it anymore.
Yeah, I was going to put Dominant Species on my list, but I put Dominant Species on a lot of lists, so I left it off.
For sure. Let's go over to Tim. What about you?
The playoff reviewers too. I think that's really cool too. It's like finding those games where they don't have that much of a table presence, but they're really fun. Like those are so hard to find sometimes for me. For sure. But 3 games. The first one I thought of was Root, because there's so many asymmetrical factions. I'm sure all of you heard of it. And they just announced today, I think, that they're coming with 2 more factions. So I'm super excited for that. Tons of ways to approach gameplay. Every faction that you play with is just so different. So I love Root. Wingspan, like Rona mentioned earlier, is a big hit too for us. A great engine builder. And the third one was Everdell for us. Great table presence. The resources like the little berries and stuff are just so satisfying to just play around with while we're waiting for your next turn. And I think it's just I think it's a great gateway game for new players as well because of the table presence, the little resources, and it's not too difficult to learn how to play either. So I think that was a really fun card drafter, engine builder as well. Let's pass it on to Amanda.
Okay, good, because I'm like, the longer this goes, the less my so my first one, okay, so a lot of people have been saying the main ones that I would think of, but Draftosaurus is such a cute filler, light, quick, easy, beautiful as well. It plays up to 4 players, and basically you're drafting 1 dinosaur, placing it on your board. It's like a roll and write, really. And then you're trying to get different sets for the different pens, and it's just such a great filler. I love playing it. So that's Draftosaurus. My next one, and I knew someone was going to say Roots, so I said Isle of Cats, which is right here.
See right there.
That one's a great game, polyomino game, where you have to have the actual game is like you have a set number of fish, which is your currency, and you have to pay for cards, which gives you extra powers. But you also have to use the fish to lure in the cats so that you capture them in baskets and take them off the island. So it's like so thinky and crunchy in that way. But if you want a lighter version, you can play the remote edition, which they designed for during the pandemic. And basically, it's a roll and write, and it's so much fun. It's a lot lighter because it takes away that aspect, the cards. But it's still a lot of fun because you still have choices to make, and you're still trying to play the cats out on your ship.
It looks like all fucked up because.
Oh, someone's okay. Sorry. So John took Barron Park. So I have to say my favorite, of course. Everyone knows it. What is it? It's Takanoko. Surprise!
I knew it. Something told me.
Yeah, a cute little game about you're in Japan, and basically you're gonna help gardeners grow bamboo. You're gonna have a panda going around eating the bamboo, and you're trying to basically complete objectives on cards to get points. And it's so great. There can be blocking. I mean, people could just eat your bamboo before you can grow it tall enough. And then the cards, the luck of the card draw, the plot draw, and stuff like that. But oh my gosh, every person I played it with loved it. Aaron, you recently I taught it to you. You really
yes,
liked
you
it,
did.
Right?
Did I win?
Yeah,
amazingly.
You did.
I think you let me win.
What platform did you play it on?
Huh? What, Beneeta?
What platform did you play it on?
BGA.
BGA has a great implementation of it. Yeah, I have the base game, the regular size. I have the expansion. I have the collector's giant edition.
Ooh, fancy.
With all, and the figurines are this tall. Yeah, it's so amazing. So that's my 3. So why don't we take it over to Aaron since he was just talking?
Okay. This one, I guess this might be a stretch, but Rec Raiders from Kids Table Board Games. I mean, I know your workers are divers going down and to get treasures to fill up your vault and everything else, but it is worker placement. But you are building an aquarium, so there's a lot of fish and there's scallops and sea stars and things like that. And KTBG is good about making games that, I mean, aesthetically, visually, it's like, oh, this is a kid's game, but it can be, but it can also be a game for an older an enthusiast. So it works on both levels. They're really good at doing that. So Rec Raiders is really a good game. I don't know if anybody played Rec Raiders before. Am I the only one? Okay,
no,
it's quite good.
How is it an older game? I haven't even heard of that one.
It came out in 2019, I believe.
So old. Oh my god.
Like games that are like a year old. What?
No, right?
I found the BGG link. I'll put it in chat.
Okay. What else? You know what? I'll say one that might be on other people's lists, and I'm going to go with Wizard Kittens from Magpie Games. This sort of reminds me of like a Potion Explosion kind of game where you're trying basically these kittens and you're trying to complete these potions while Professor Kitten isn't looking, and it's very colorful and cute, and you're trying to all the spells are basically just combined of different charms and things. You're trying to race to, I guess, complete the most. But then it's an interesting thing where if you draw a card with Professor Kitten on it, then like the more points that the better you've done, like the worse shape you're in. It's like you either want to get everything done quickly or kind of be in between, because if that card gets revealed, the more you've done, you kind of have lost. It's interesting. I don't know. It's very colorful, very cute. That's some Magpie Games, Wizard Kittens. And then the last one is a word game called Composition. It's from a friend of mine. His name is Matt Hawker, Cool Games. And Composition is primarily animal themed. There is one character that is a person, but basically, like if you're the hog, you have the letters HOG. So it's a word game where you're going to be buying letters and acquiring letters every round, but you can always at least spell something. So if you're the cat, you can always spell cat. If you're the, is it a squid or an octopus? I don't know. You can always spell ink. So there's always something you can spell, but as you get more letters, you can spell more longer and more complex words. It's very fun. I think actually the designer played with Amanda and John and I, and Amanda.
He helped me win. I wouldn't
you
have
all,
one.
I don't expect to win my thing with you, but that's okay. I don't win in my own home, but I mean, it's a good thing. I like to play just to play. So yeah. So composition. My microphone. Composition is my third. Why don't we go to Julie?
So this is a tough one because, or for me at least, because I love animal themed games. They're some of my favorite. But to mention three of my favorites, I would say this is kind of a cheating one because it's two different games, but they have the same basis. The game's Evolution and Oceans. I love those two games. The basis of you creating your own animal and it evolving with different powers to kind of beat out all the other players' animals that they are creating is really fun. The art in both of those games is just absolutely gorgeous. The second one I'd like to mention is New York Zoo. Again, pretty new one. I used to work at a zoo myself. And so the idea of this, again, building a little zoo with all these cute little meeples of different animals, and another polyomino game. Everyone loves those recently. So yeah, that one is another super fun one. And my top ones are all ones that have already been mentioned, but I love, love, love Root. Just a beautifully made game. So complex, but it's so great. Like just the different factions and the asymmetry of it is just awesome. And Wingspan, another one of my favorites, just absolutely beautiful and just so well done. So those are mine. Let's pass it to Ronak.
Yes. Yeah. Animal themed games are super intuitive and fun, and I really like to play them. And I knew the good ones were already going to be taken, so I chose the ones which I thought are really going to be fun for me. So I think my number 3 is one called, I don't know if you guys have played it. It's called Crack-a-Lackin' Poker or Cockroach Poker.
Yes.
Have you guys heard about it?
I've heard of it, never played it.
Yeah.
It's a very cute little bluffing game where there are like seven different types of insects, and you pass a card, and it's like challenge. You have to tell them it is something, and it may not be something, and there's no winner, but there's one loser. Right, so everyone kind of conspires to make one person the loser, but then the focus shifts. So yeah, and there's a royal version with some more rules and all of that. So that's my third one. The second one is Exploding Kittens. I'm sure that is something which a lot of people. It's like a ticking time bomb, right? The game, it just gets my blood pressure going whenever I play the game, because that in that stack there is an exploding kitten. Do you want to pick up the top card or not? I try to avoid it playing, but I know it's fun for a lot of people. They have like so many different decks, like the NSFW deck and all of that. It's fun to see people. And my top one is it's actually a 2-player game called Raptor. Right?
Yes.
Raptor is such a great strategic game. I think Bruno Catala has, this is one of his, good games which are out there. And me and my wife, we keep playing it on and off. The moment I introduced it to her, she's she's more of a casual gamer. So she had a lukewarm response to it. But the more we kept playing, the more she understood strategies to beat me. And the thing with my wife is that she doesn't let me know when she's transitioning from a learner to an expert. Fourth game, fifth game, she's still asking, how do I do this? How do I do this? And then bam, I'm winning, right? Suddenly, and then every game she pretends that she's still learning the game as she's forgotten the rules. But I know deep inside that, yeah. So I end up losing all of Raptor games with her, no matter which faction I try. All right. So okay, let me pass this on to Tyler and Ilya. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, this was tough. Yeah, this was really tough for us. I like Julie, love anything that is animal themed, so I would just play anything with animals on it.
Yeah.
So everybody else plus.
Yes, yeah. My top one, I'll just say that my top one is Oceans, because I find it phenomenal that you can put together just there's so many different ways to think about it. You can be leeches on the bottom of the sea. You can be the apex predator. And then you have to think about how everybody else is playing the game too. So I really like that I just
Very
really like,
dynamic.
how dynamic it is.
I guess I can go for the second one.
Yeah.
So, this was so hard. I keep, even like as everybody was saying, I'm like, oh, maybe I should say this game, and I kept like changing my mind. But I think I want to talk about Mary Posas. It was actually a game that came out last year, and
That's a good
I
one.
listened to Card Great, and she did such a good job. I'm such a big fan of games that try to educate you, but in a subtle way. So it's not like super in your face, but it's there. And the rulebook actually has such a fun, informative page of all these like super fun facts that actually really stick with you. Like I learned that the monarch butterflies actually fly at 10,000 feet when they migrate, which is like out of this world. I would have never thought that butterflies can go that high up to be like on the scale where like the airplanes are. And there's a lot of little like elements like that throughout the game as well. It's a very simple game. It's super easy to introduce. You essentially just play a card, move, play a card, and move. But it's beautiful. Absolutely love it. And yeah, that's mine.
Yeah.
What's our third?
I think our last one. There's a lot of them, but I think the last one I would say is Calico.
Yeah.
It's quilt based, but the cat on the box is just
collects all the cats. I feel like there's also a theme of games where like they're all so cute and they look so nice, but they're either like super cutthroat or super thinky, and they just deceive you and they just draw you in.
That's
I feel like Calico's like-
Agreed, yes.
we saw it at first like, oh, this is so cozy. We can like introduce this to like Tyler's mom. We can just share this with everybody, and it's a really like intuitive game. But holy, once you get down to those last couple of moves,
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess we'll pass it on to Beneeta.
So I am trying not to do repeats because Calico was definitely on my list. So I will say, hey, that's my fish. It is a abstract game, and you're trying to get like the most fish to feed your penguins, and it is so hard, or so hard for me at least. I don't think in all my times of playing it I have ever won a game. But it's very like cutthroat, like what Tyler and Ilya were just saying. Like it looks so cute. I have these cute little penguin meeples, but like it's mean. It's mean. But
It's a good game. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only setting up that game though is a little bit of a pain. You know what I mean? If you have but it's great. It's a really good game.
It is a good game. My next one is Feast for Odin. There's like enough animals in there, like whales and stuff, that like I feel like comfortable saying Feast for Odin.
I'll allow it.
Thank you. This last one is maybe even more of a stretch, but I love Survive Escape from Atlantis, and the whole point is like you're not trying to like get eaten by sea monsters or have your ships like overthrown by whales or get eaten by sharks. So like that's not like a cutesy theme, but it's such a fun game. And again, it's like also it's not an abstract game, but it's also like a little cutthroat because you're like, do I move this whale or shark here so you get eaten before your meeple makes it back to the deserted island? I think I'm going to do that. Can't you see a trend in the games I enjoy playing? But yeah, I love Survive Escape from Atlantis. I think it's like a 30-year-old game, but it's still so good.
It is really good.
Yeah. So how about you, Tim?
Well, I'm surprised you picked any of the games I had on my list. I tried really hard because I was trying to think of, to be unique. Because again, we just like we all thought people were going to pick a lot of the same games. So mine all have the same animal in it, and I like to teach them a lot at Meepleville. So my number 3 is Caravan. It's a pick up and deliver game. And it uses camels, and it's just a really good game that I like to teach because it's pretty intuitive, pretty simple as far as what you can do, and people like taking the camels and making the caravan and picking it up and going along your thing, and so really, really like that. Number 2 is probably one of my top 2-player games. There's Patchwork, Naya, because those are really kind of simple to get into, and this one is probably number 3 that I teach people a lot. That's Jaipur. And that's from your country, Ronak, right there in India. But yeah, so that uses camels and it's a set collection game. Fantastic 2-player game. People really love that. And my number 1 game with the same type of animal, that since I live in Vegas, I have a lot of friends who are professional gamblers. And when I turn this game onto them, they lost their mind and just love it. And that is Camel Up. We play that and they go berserk. They just they get so into it, but it's kind of annoying, right? Because they'll sit and I'm like, it's a game, you know what I mean? Like,
not to them.
It takes so long trying to figure out odds and all this kind of crap, and I'm like, just play the game, you know? But yeah, so those are my 3. All have to do with camels. So did we get some interesting? Who's good at watching chat? Oh, one thing I just want to mention. I'm so surprised nobody mentioned, because what was it, 3 years ago, maybe 2 years? It was like one of the hottest games out, and nobody mentioned it. Was Bunny Kingdom. I'm surprised nobody mentioned it.
Someone in chat did.
So me and Amanda are in chat. Do you want us to list some games that people have mentioned?
Yeah, please. Yeah, what were some of the ones I mentioned?
We got Ant Game. Someone mentioned Japort, Hive, Ecos, Fauna, Cat Lady, Frank's Zoo, Habitats. We got a lot of love for Calico. Someone said stuffed fables if we consider stuffed animals.
Cubitos.
Yes. I forgot Cubitos. Cubitos is all animals in there too.
Animals, yeah.
Animal upon animal, tiny epic dinosaurs.
Creature Comforts, which is a new one that just got.
So good.
I cannot wait for that game.
So good.
I'm excited for that one.
Oh yeah, Rhino Hero. That was another one I was going to pick.
Rhino
Hero.
Yeah, Rhino Hero is amazing.
I think Cascadia is going to be a really big one too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That does look good.
It's like a slightly toned down Calico.
Yeah. Tiny Epic Dinosaurs, Agricola, all creatures big and small, Animal upon Animal. Lots of good games.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, a lot of people have a lot of good stuff. Well, that was a lot of fun. There was some interesting games because, it was really hard to come up with that, wasn't it? And it's surprising because, even like I don't know if anybody has one, but I like the heavier, drier, Euro, crunchier games. Is there one that's themed around animals? Does anybody
Would you consider Everdell as one of those games?
There's rats in my village.
I haven't played.
Oh, Notre Dame it's like all about rats. Like there's rats. Like there's a rat issue in Notre Dame by Stefan Feld.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and like Dragon, could that be an animal? Maybe Year of the Dragon by Stefan Feld as well.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Looks like Vital Lacerda needs to make an animal themed game.
Oh, they say Reef Encounter is super heavy.
I never played that one.
I've never played that. Gods Love Dinosaurs. I want to.
That's not very heavy. It's
so
good,
good.
but it's not very heavy.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Dinosaur Island, right? Nobody said that one.
Oh, yeah,
yet.
Dinosaur Island.
Yeah.
I don't think that's too heavy though.
No, it's not. But it's just like when I thought of
It's a good one. Yeah.
What
There's a
about-
lot of cat themed games. My friend Tate does Cleopatra, Cat Sudoku, Cat Rescue. Oh my gosh, all his games are mainly cats. But yes.
Oh, fantastic. All right. Well, man, that was a really good show tonight. We had some really interesting topics. Like I said, so what I've been doing now, when I transfer this over to YouTube, I go to the different sections and put a time code so you can skip to like the introductions, the top 3, the news, and all that kind of stuff. And I also put links to everybody's channel in there and all that kind of stuff. So right now, we've got some time left. We're going to go through everybody individually. And please, when I pull you up, make sure you let everybody know about your channel, what you do, how they can find you, and let them know what you have coming up. Okay, so I'm just going to go around the horn here, and we'll start with Aaron, since you're right there next to me. Go ahead, Aaron.
Okay, no pressure. I'm Aaron from GameEnthuse.com. You can follow me on Twitter. My actual personal Twitter is @indifference. Even though I'm a really nice guy, I'm not really indifferent. The second I is a 1. You can also just follow @GameEnthuse. That'll get you there as well. Or just go to GameEnthuse.com and everything is there. I do it's 2 E's, GameEenthus. That's
okay.
No worries. Anyway, I do a pretty weekly podcast. Actually, John and Amanda just joined me, and Candace Harris from BGG joined me for our 2020 Board Game of the Year show. And I put that up at some point this week, I guess Tuesday or what have you. So we do a weekly show. Normally it's about video games and board games, and I do reviews and previews, which you can find on YouTube as well or on the site. So pretty much, you go to GameWithUs.com, it'll have all the information you need to check me out there. So
fantastic.
Thank you for having me, Tim.
Absolutely, Aaron. I really appreciate you coming, and thanks for joining us. It was great having you here. John Gonzalez, how about you, John?
Yeah, you can find me online on Twitter, Instagram, on Twitch as Book of Nerds. That's one of my handles online. It says on there John Gonzalez. There's only one person that calls me that. That's my sister-in-law for some reason. I don't know why. But she calls me John for some reason. But yeah, you can find me on Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter as Book of Nerds. I have a blog called bookofnerds.com where I post reviews. And I'm also on the 5by podcast, which is a great podcast. Check that out. That's the 5by. I forgot the website, but if you search the 5by, you'll get there. And you can catch me on Twitch with Amanda hanging out playing some board games. We do a little show on Tuesdays called Board in East LA, where we try to capture some of that fun we have at the table in real life on a show on Twitch, and that's a weekly show. So check that out. And that's about it. If you want to reach out, come and find me, I guess. That sounded weird. I don't know why I said that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, John. It's great having you, great meeting you, and I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me on, Tim.
Absolutely. We've got Tylor and Ilya. Hello, guys.
Hello, everybody. So you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube too.
Yeah. Our YouTube is just Covray, and the rest of the other handles are at Covray Studios.
Yeah. And as for some inside scoop, we have some really fun content coming up. Next week, we're actually doing a Valentine's Day board game video, and it's more of like a sketch. So I'm really looking forward to it. Mm-hmm. And because I've been teasing this a little bit, and it's way out of my comfort zone, but we're going to be doing a music parody video coming up here this month. So I think in about 2 weeks we're releasing that. And I guess I'll give you a sneak peek since you're here. It's actually a parody of my favorite things, but it'll be around kind of not having enough time to play board games. So I'm super stoked for that. But other than that, we do videos every Wednesday. We try to feature a game every Wednesday. We do occasional videos on Mondays, and we do written reviews on our website on Fridays, and that is covray.com. Yeah.
Thanks so much. Very good. Thank you for joining us again. It's always nice having you here. And just so you guys know, the Creator Spotlight this week is called Covray. Covray? What's the correct way? How do you say it?
Covray.
Covray, yes. So Covray, they are the Creator Spotlight on BGG. So go check out that little section there on BGG this week. And we have Julie Medina.
Yes, so you can find me online as Kawaii Plays on Facebook and Twitch, and also at tabletopandteatime.com, and as well as the same on Facebook, Tabletop and Tea Time, for any of those tea and board game events that we do virtually right now. And my Instagram currently is sorry, I'm trying to think of what it is right now. Oh my goodness. It's called Geeky Board Gamer, I believe is. Oh my gosh. I don't even remember my own handle on Instagram at this moment. But yes, it's Geeky Board Gamer. But I am going to be switching that to Kawaii Plays, just like the rest of my stuff, just to keep it all the same. So that you can find me there on Instagram as well and on Twitter. So thank you again for having me on here today, Tim. It was great being back.
Hey,
Tim's
You're muted.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry because my cat's going off. That's why I said.
It always trips me up. I swear to God, it's a baby every time. And every time it's a cat.
It is a baby, Beneeta. It is a baby.
Yes, yes, I guess there's conspiracy theories out there about babies, aren't there? Yeah, so that's why I muted. Sorry about that. But yes, so thank you so much, Julie. It's been a while. Don't be a stranger. So, yes. And first timer Tim. We had Tim join us tonight. Thank you so much, Tim.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. But I'm a photographer, videographer. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram at Tim Chuen. I'm also on Twitter. My YouTube channel is mostly about tutorials for board games and reviews, but I also teach everything that I learned right back. So anything that from my videos, I try to teach as much as I can. And I also have a really, really exciting photography series. It's a product photography series where I go through step by step, talking about the gear, talking about like what you can expect, lighting, composition, the really important stuff for doing product photography. Because in reality, you know, every board game needs product photos. So I'm trying to teach as much as I know in that series. And at the very end, we're going to do a really cool finale where I'm going to invite everyone to submit their photos, and it's going to be a fun time. So yeah, thank you so much, Tim, for having me, and super happy to be here.
Absolutely, Tim. Thank you so much for joining us. It's really good, and you're more than welcome to always come back. We have Beneeta. That's the wrong person. Oh, sorry.
I know we have the same matching headphones.
That's all I was looking. I just saw the head. Yes.
Hi, I'm Beneeta. I am a variety streamer on Twitch, and I do fun geek life and nerdy videos on TikTok. I stream board games. I stream video games. I do a Sunday evening just chatting stream where we talk about our week and what's coming up for the week ahead. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram at Beneeta_K. I was lucky enough to get the same handle for everything, which is so hard to do, y'all. But yeah, thank you again for having me on, Tim. It's been great, like always.
Well, thank you, Beneeta. It's always lovely having you here, and I really appreciate it. You gave some great insight all the time you're here. And then again, I'm just so excited, all the way from the other side of the world. What time is it there, by the way, Ronak?
It's 9:15 a.m. Yeah.
But on Thursday, so we got another future friend, because we got our future friends down in Australia. We got a future friend from India here now too. So go ahead, Ronak, tell everybody about you.
Yes, so people can find me at Chai and Games on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Like Beneeta was saying, I'm also lucky to find the same name everywhere. So yes, and a little sneak peek is that next week I'm going to be releasing a video in Hindi. You know, how to play video in Hindi, which has been a challenge. You can see the eye bags under my eyes, right? And and that's one of the popular titles, which is Terraforming Mars. So I'm going to be explaining Terraforming Mars, how to play in Hindi next week. So that's just a little, sneak peek from my side. Thank you, Tim, for doing this.
Nice.
Oh, absolutely, Ronak. So listen, I mean, I'm just so like, is there enough people? Like, I know India has 1 billion people, but is board gaming huge over there? Is there a big enough audience for like a heavy game like Terraforming Mars in Hindi?
Well, it's always a chicken and an egg thing, like to say, so there are people who have been thirsty to play more games, but they haven't been introduced to more of these strategy board games. And that's my job, right? I make people, I catch them, I show them that, okay, these are new games that you can try. And I try to become the enabler. I try to explain them the games, okay. And once they catch on the game, they just quickly pick it up. They're like, okay, sign me up for a membership. Where do I sign up? So that's what I really like to do. And again, like Indians have been gamers all throughout history, most other civilizations.
You guys, you were the Chinese, right, for thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
Exactly. Yeah, and there's and everyone is competitive. Like an 80-year-old grandmother is also competitive, right? So
everybody likes watching meters go up.
Yeah. Ronak, did you also grow up playing like Teen Patti like all the time at like the volley parties and stuff? Yeah.
Of course. So India has a big gaming culture, but a card gaming culture, like the playing cards. And every holiday, we have like a bazillion holidays over here, right? Because we have so many different religions going on. So every time people gather and they play playing cards, and there are so many different variations that people play of poker is now becoming more popular though, but not before that. There were different like set collection games that people would play.
And how is it with like gaming conventions and stuff? Because I know, because I started MeepleCon here in Las Vegas in America with Dave, and I know there was a MeepleCon over in India because we had the same name a lot. So are there a lot of conventions, and what's the gaming like community throughout the entire country? I know it's a huge country, but still, is it big?
Right now, the conventions are the ones which actually bring people out. Otherwise, there's underground gaming community, right? And we get to see that face of the gaming community once we have tournaments. We have like Catan tournaments and Splendor tournaments. We would expect 30 to 40 signups, but we would get like 100 or 120 signups, overnight. And that's when we really get to see the numbers. So we know, and we meet the retailers, we talk to them. They say that, like, hundreds of copies have been sold last month of a certain game. So that's how we kind of gauge that, okay, these many people are the ones who are playing currently in their homes. So that's where it is. Because of lack of a lot of board game cafes and a lot of conventions, it's a little difficult to find out that number. But yes, it's kind of like ready to burst out.
And who is there a big couple of big channels, like, say like the Dice Tower or Rado or people, or is that you in India?
Yeah, I'd like to say that yes, right now I am the one who's more updated.
Yes, awesome.
Like someone talked about consistency. I think Julie did, right? So yeah, I'm just trying my best to put out as much content as possible, because in India people don't talk about games that often, right? On a public forum. So I would like to just put it out there that, hey, the conversation is already going. Yeah, I also started a podcast called the Indian Board Game Podcast, where we kind of share stories about Indian gamers throughout history. What is the current thing, and where can people find more games? So again, discovery is the key word here.
Wow, fantastic! Well, Ronak,
so cool. I can't wait to go back to India. I'm going to totally visit your store. That's exciting.
Oh, me too. Absolutely. Yeah, it's so fantastic having you here. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it, you coming in. And we have Amanda Panda.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda Panda. You can find me everywhere on the interwebs as Panda Angel, spelled just like that with an 8 instead of an A in Angel. I do a lot of Twitch content weekly. Weekly on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, I'm on the Book of Nerds Twitch as Board in East LA co-host. And then at 1 p.m. Pacific on Thursdays, I do a solo stream. So I either play a board game solo, or I do some arts and crafts, or a combination of that. And it's just a chill chat, and people are lurking while they're working, and it's wonderful. And then on Fridays at noon Pacific, I join John, Book of Nerds, again for a game. Right now we're doing Twa Dice, which is we're doing the designer series. It's been a lot of fun. And then follow me on Twitter, because I have a lot of random streams depending on when my guests can join me. And I play a lot of board games. I also do a monthly stream, which is rated mature audiences only. It's called Panda After Dark, in which me and some of my female presenting friends play a board game and just get silly and wild and have a lot of laughs. So I hope you join us.
Well, thank you so much, Amanda. It's always great having you here, as always. And if you don't see Amanda here, she will be in chat. She likes to be in chat and be a moderator, so we really appreciate her doing that as well. Last but not least, I guess I'll go up there. My name is Tim from Meepleville Board Game Cafe, and I have a YouTube channel, Meepleville Board Game Cafe channel. And I have a board game cafe in Las Vegas. I've already said that 3 times, which is stupid. And then also I run Dice Tower West convention here in Vegas as well. And I'm starting to do this on Wednesday nights. On Monday night, I do a new talk show, and I'm going to perhaps be doing another one. And and it's just great getting all of these wonderful people together and talking and sharing our experiences about content creation and all that stuff on the internet. And I'm so fortunate and so happy. I've gotten so many more. We have Aaron, we have John, we have Tim, we have Ronak. So those are new faces this week. So thank you guys so much for joining us. It's really great having new people, and they'll be back hopefully. And thank you, Beneeta, Julie, Tyler, and Ilya and Amanda. You guys have been here before, and thank you so much for continuing to come. And we're getting more and more new faces too. So it's really great. And hopefully we'll be able to do another show a different time as well. So I'm working on that in the background. I'd like to thank Grant, Aldi, and Lincoln in the chat for being moderators. Thank you so much. I hope nothing kicked off over there. I don't really know, because sometimes in these chats, who knows what happens. But I'd like to really thank them for doing that and monitoring that. And thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it. And before I go, we still got a little bit of time. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add real quick? Any news or anything before we head off?
Just real quick, if you missed any part of this live video, please go to the Meepleville Twitch channel or YouTube. You can watch it from the beginning on both of those platforms.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Amanda, for saying that. Yes, that's exactly right. You can do that. And like I said, Everybody here, all of their info will be in the links, so you can go ahead and get that. I don't know if they've been putting it up in chat as we've been playing, and I'll also put timestamps on different segments of the show, so you can just go watch a particular thing if you like. But again, thank you all for joining us. We'll be back next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, right here on the front page of BGG or on twitch.tv/Meepleville. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week, folks. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night. Thanks again, Tim.